All right, over at the Lacrosse Center with Mr. Dave Rudrun here today. Bi-State Classic. What is it, 37 years? 37 years?
The 37th
37th, and you've been around since the beginning.
I think I'm probably the only person in the house that's been at all of them.
Tell us a little bit about the beginnings of this thing and what it's grown into over the years.
We started in 1982 with 9 teams. We were probably going to try and have 16. It just didn't materialize. So the first 2 years we went with 9 and then 10. And then the third and fourth years we grew it to 17. And some of it a little bit like this. There was a snowstorm. One of the teams got snowed out of it. It happened to be DC Everest, and Fred and I were pretty good friends. Lurkey, the coach there, and so we added him to be the 17th team, even though we had 16 lined up. And there's a little bit of a caveat with it. You need to stay. Well, he came back, and they're still here. So 35 years later, they're still part of the event. Okay. In year 5, we went to 32 teams and started the 2-day formatting, and then I think in about year 8 or 9 we figured we went to 40 teams to fill up the brackets. In about year 12, we went to new mats. With these Dahlinger mats instead of Resolites, we could get 10 circles on the floor instead of 8. So instead of 40 teams, we added 10 more and went to 50. Okay. And that's about the time track wrestling kind of materialized. Scores it all, pairs it all, seeds it. I mean, it gives you just a whole lot of streamlines all operations. Sure. And then, we've done some things with investing in clocks and table gear and things like that have just increase the efficiency in the event. So we went from 50 teams to 60 teams, and
now we're even bigger.
Now even bigger. So,
tell us about the last couple of days, because we've had some changes at least to the team lineup and gained a team. Yeah,
well, snowstorm in the west, and Fargo has a big event called Rumble in the Red, and it's a nice event. It's the same caliber as ours, about the same body count, maybe a couple more teams, because their team dynamic is a little smaller than the general area here. But literally a blizzard, so there were teams who couldn't go there, and they didn't want to lose a premier event off their schedules. So some of them reached out to us, and we picked up Stoughton and just said we would add you. And then we lost a couple of the Minnesota teams, so we replaced them with other Minnesota teams who were going to go to Fargo, but now they're here. Sure. So, and it's kind of that thing. Because we had a waiting list of teams to come here, mm-hmm. But we tried not to be violating that waiting list concept. We really are just absorbing a couple of teams who were trained and ready. I mean, if you weren't planning on going to a Christmas tournament, you probably couldn't alter your schedule to get in there. So these guys were literally ready to go someplace and had no place to go. So we're kind of the leave the light on for you tournament.
Did you ever see it getting this big into this point?
Always.
Back then? Did you?
Always.
Okay, back at the Lacrosse Center at the Bi-State Classic. We have Bloomington Kennedy coach Chuck Vavrosky here. This is a team that's been coming here for quite a long time. I think you said 2000 when you started. What about this tournament keeps you guys coming back, and what do your kids really kind of get out of a competition like this?
When you get into a tournament like this, you don't see the names in the guillotine. You don't see ranked kids. You have no idea who you're wrestling against, and so our kids have come down here and we've pulled off some upsets over some kids from Wisconsin, and they come off and they go, well, who was that? Why was that such a big deal? And so it kind of gives them in their mind that, hey, I can compete at this level.
Okay. We've had a couple additions in the last couple of days here. New Prague coming, Stoughton from Wisconsin. Just kind of, I guess that kind of makes a tough tournament even tougher. Talk about getting last-minute additions. How does that change things for the rest of you?
We're just down here to get competition. We're a really young team. We're we have a few kids that'll push some people, but we're in the learning process. We've got a lot of young ninth graders and stuff in the lineup, so this is really a rebuilding year for us.
You've had a lot of really good ninth graders in the past, though.
Yeah.
I've seen them compete here.
Yep.